everybody. Today's video is obviously a special one because this little girl made her arrival 3 days ago. She didn't want to wait till her due date, thankfully. So I'll tell you a little bit about her, how she got here. Now, I did post a video last week about getting the membrane sweep done, and I didn't really feel any different afterwards. I had a little bit of cramping, but nothing made me think that I was going to go into labor that day. I did, though, get put into false labor and was contracting all weekend, which sucked. I never knew for sure if I was in like actual labor or not. Like, it was, sometimes they'd get like regular, sometimes I could even kind of time them, but then it would just go away, which was really frustrating to say the least. So I had already had my appointment scheduled for Monday to have it done again, and I really thought that I was going to end up there on Monday morning getting it done again. But all that happened over the entire weekend was I had like my mucus plug like losing it for those few days, and just that cramp. Sunday night, actually Sunday all day, I was having like contractions pretty much all day. And later on at the end of the night, me and my husband were sitting down and we were watching TV. My other daughter was at my mom's house for the night. She just had her sleepover because I was supposed to have my appointment on Monday morning. And she said that she would just take her for the night so that way we didn't have to drop her off in the morning and we didn't have to worry about getting there and like, you know, having a crazy morning to get to this appointment. So she said she would just take her. So luckily she did, because that whole night I had very regular contractions, like 10 minutes apart. They were getting pretty intense, and I thought for sure I was in labor. Then all of a sudden I got up, started walking around, stopped. So I got so frustrated because at this point it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like, I'm just gonna go to bed and try and get whatever sleep I can just in case I do end up in labor in the middle of the night, or, you know, in labor on Monday morning. I just wanted to get as much rest as I could. Well, what ended up happening is that we did go to bed, and I was woken up sporadically by really painful contractions. By the time it got to like 4 o'clock in the morning, I had one that was just pretty much unbearable and couldn't stay laying in bed. Like, I had to get up, and I went to the bathroom. Was just like hanging out in there for a little while, trying to like get through them so I could let my husband sleep. So I had the light on in there, and I was just kind of like swaying back and forth, like realizing like, wow, these are getting really close. Like, I was like 5 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart. I was pretty much aware that I was in active labor at that point. And after like that fourth or fifth one, I went to go wake up my husband, and I was just like, I think it's time that we go. And he kind of like woke up and, you know, jumped, because I think he only slept like 3 hours, but he's like, what? I'm like, it's time for this baby. Like, we need to go. So I got in the shower. I was just trying to get through those contractions while he had called the doctor, or just in case they were going to tell me to wait a while. I was just letting the hot water like hit my back, because I had the contractions were like wrapping all around from back to front. They actually didn't even have me wait. They just were like, all right, just we'll call the doctor and we'll let them know you're coming. So after my shower, I was like, you know what, we really need to go, because the contractions were like getting really close. I got dressed, we head out the door, get to the hospital by like 5 o'clock in the morning. They brought me to triage. They checked me and said I was only at like 3 centimeters, which kind of blew my mind, because I was at 2 for like a really long time, for like weeks. I thought for sure with the extent of those contractions and the pain and like having sporadic ones all weekend, I was kind of just like, it's got to be further than that. I mean, for my other daughter, I was like not even a 1 in the morning, and then by the time I got to the hospital that night, I was at like a 4 to 5. So I really thought for sure I was gonna be way past that point. And I was just telling my husband, I'm like, if they try and send me home, I'm gonna tell them no, because I was in so much pain. I was like, you're not gonna be able to make me leave. They monitored my contractions and her heart rate and everything, and came to the conclusion that my contractions were very regular, about 3 to 4 minutes apart. And they called the doctor, and she told them to pretty much have me just go for like a walk for an hour and try and get things to progress. So I was walking up and down the hallways, and boy, did they progress. Like, they went very, very strong, very quickly. I was just like swaying back and forth to try and get through the pain. By the time like that hour was over, I was like telling my husband, like, we have to go back to the room. I can't even walk anymore. Like, this is just getting unbearable. So I went back there. They were like, all right, we'll check you again and see how much you've progressed. If you have, then we'll probably keep you. I'm like, oh my God, probably? Like, there's no way they can send me home. Like, no way. Because I figured I'd be going home and then probably just going right back. So they checked me, and I had progressed. I was at, like, I think they said 5 or 6 or 6, somewhere in that range. So they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna transfer you to a labor room and get you all situated and whatever. So they sent me over to the labor room. I was in there. I was having a really tough time. And by that point, like, soon after that, my midwife came. So she came in, she had checked me, she said that she could feel, like, my membranes or whatever, like the water bag, and she said I was, like, right at about a 6. They had the anesthesiologist come in, asked me if I wanted the epidural. I was like, absolutely, because I thought, like, I was going to be dealing with that the entire time, and if they were going to get any worse, I was going to lose it. Like, I was literally wailing in pain and, like, crying. It was so bad. So he gave me the epidural, and my contractions, like, subsided pretty good for like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. I was like, okay, I can definitely tolerate this. Like, they would come, but I'd kind of just like squeeze, bear it, and then it'd be over. My midwife, she comes in, she's like, all right, I'm gonna break your waters, things gonna start moving faster. I'm like, okay. So she did that. Literally almost instantly, I started having so much pain again. Like, just like how the contractions were before. I was wailing in pain. It hurt so bad. I was like, it wasn't to the point that I was like dying just yet, but I was like, they still really hurt. Like, I thought with the epidural I wasn't supposed to feel anything. And so they had called the anesthesiologist back and had him, like, check it. He checked it, and he was just kind of like, oh, she must be having, like, a really hard labor, because I put this thing in perfect. Like, I could swear by this. So he's like, she's probably at like an 8 at least, and, like, you know, pretty close to the end. He's like, I'm gonna have somebody come and check you, and we'll see what's going on. So the nurse comes back, she goes, checks me. I was fully dilated. So yeah, it went really freaking fast. So I was fully dilated. She was like, yeah, he was right. Like, there's probably not much you can do at this point because you're almost ready, you're ready to go. So she's like, do you feel like you need to push with these contractions? And I was just kind of like, I'm like, well, I feel a lot of pressure, and, like, I kind of feel like I need to, like, tighten, but it wasn't anything, like, serious, like, that I couldn't stop myself from pushing. Like, the urge was so, like, you know, there. So she's told me, she's like, don't try and ignore it. If a contraction comes, she's like, just push with it. Not like a hardcore push, but just kind of like push with it. She's like, we'll see how the baby descends and, like, see how this is gonna go. So one came, I, like, kind of just pushed along with it, like, just let my body do what it felt like it needed to do. And they checked, and they were like, oh yeah, she's gonna come quick. Like, they already pretty much saw, like, the top of her head. So I was, like, bugging at that point, because I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be in, like, literally, like, pushing her out and feeling this much pain. But honestly, once it got to that point, the pushing actually was, like, a relief to really, really push, like, hard with those contractions, because it was just brutal, like, trying to breathe through those things and get through it without, like, screaming and crying. So they're like, okay, we're gonna page the midwife, and as soon as she gets here, we're gonna be ready to go. Luckily, thank God, she got there in, like, 5 minutes. She must have literally, like, heard the phone call and, like, flew out the door, because she was, like, right there, ready to get her stuff on and ready to go. I was like, oh, thankfully, like, I love my midwife. She's just amazing. And as soon as, like, everything started, she was like, all right, let's go. Like, as soon as you get that contraction, go. And she had us, like, you know, pull up my legs as far back as I could, and just, like, push with everything that I had. They weren't even counting through my contractions. Like, they weren't like 1, 2, like, it was nothing like that. As I started pushing, she was just like, go, 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 like, screaming at me. I don't even have words. I don't remember where my brain was at that point. I just remember her, like, I just needed to listen to everything that she was saying in order for this to be over. Like, I just wanted to meet my baby. So she was, like, screaming, go, 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 push, 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 keep going, like, screaming all sorts of stuff at me. There was no counting. There was no, like, relaxing. She would just, like, all right, as soon as, take a breath, go, 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 push, push, push. And I was just, like, giving it my all. Literally, like, no word of a lie, like, 3 pushes, she was out. Like, it couldn't have been more than 10, 15 minutes of pushing. I don't even know. That's how intense this all was. Like, I was just in so much pain. I didn't even get to enjoy my epidural. Like, literally, that entire labor felt like I didn't even have any kind of drugs whatsoever. I was in so much pain. But it made everything happen so quickly. So I feel like I can't even complain. Like, it just went so fast. Like, she even had like fluid still stuck in her lungs and was like kind of choking on it and stuff for a little while, because of how quickly she came out. It was just the most like amazing experience, and it went quickly. And yeah, in the moment it felt horrible, but like, pain is only temporary. It's just like, in my mind I kept telling myself, like, you know, it's one day, I can get through this, and then I'll have my baby and it'll be all over. So everything was done. They threw her on top of me. It was like the most amazing thing ever. Did not tear, which was awesome, because I did tear the first time and had to get stitches, and it was horrible. Like, those stitches were driving me crazy, and didn't have to get any of that done. Like, I felt so good afterwards. Like, I was able to, like, my right leg got really numb, but it, like, I could still feel everything. But they were just waiting afterwards for my right leg to like get feeling back, so that they could help me into the shower and get like washed up and cleaned up and everything before they transferred us into a regular room. That was the most intense experience of my entire life, to say the least. But she was born healthy, no issues. She was 7 pounds 5 ounces and 19.5 inches long. But yeah, that was how this little one decided to join our family that day. Like, when she decided it was time, she came with a vengeance. So, which I'm thankful for, because it was such an amazing experience. Our hospital stay wasn't bad at all. It was actually pretty great. Like, besides the fact that obviously you want to come home and be in your own house and back to your normal routine, and I wanted to see, you know, be home with my daughter. Wanted her to like bond with her sister, which, by the way, she's obsessed with her, like over the top obsessed. Like, needs to see what she's doing at all times. Literally this morning, I was in the bathroom. It was like 6:45ish, around there. I had just fed her, and you know, went to the bathroom, and it's time to start the day. And my little one comes out of her room, and she walks over and looks at me in the bathroom, and is like, "Mommy, where's the baby?" Like, so dead serious, like barely even up for probably a minute. It was already like, "Where is she? Like, you didn't give her away, did you? Like, I waited so long for this kid." It was just the cutest thing. Yeah, so here she is. If you want to take a better look at her. The baby. Say hello. She's just so beyond perfect. Like, I can't even deal. She looks like a baby doll. But we are breastfeeding, which is going pretty well right now. First day was a little rough. I didn't breastfeed my first, so everything is new for me this time around. But she's had a doctor's appointment this morning, and she did lose a little bit of weight, which they said is normal. We're going back tomorrow to see if she gained a little something. They thought she was jaundice, but it turns out everything was fine. She got the blood test done. They called me a few hours ago, said everything looks normal. But we are so thankful and so happy that she's here and she's healthy, and I'm not pregnant anymore. And everyone is just so over the moon excited. Like, I've never felt so good. I'm just so like beyond content with everything, like how everything went. Like, there's not one thing I could complain about. I got to have my midwife deliver her, which she didn't get to be there to deliver my first. I was kind of sad about that, but I'm so glad that she was here this time around, and she got to see her pediatrician, who we also like really love. We're just all adjusting really well. Like, everything just feels so back to normal, and she's such a good baby. She pretty much sleeps most of the time. Only really cries if she's a little gassy or naked, because she hates being changed and hates diaper changes. But I don't blame her, because, you know, it gets cold. But that's pretty much it. And her name is Lila Jane. Ugh, we're so in love. Like, she's just so perfect. I could literally stare at her all day. Like, it's just so easy. Like, look how cute she is. She's just so perfect. I'm in love, guys. All over again. A lot of people say, like, second time moms, a lot of them are like, I don't know how I'm gonna love my second one as much as I love my first one. But it's not like love doesn't divide, it multiplies. Like, nothing changes about how much you love your first one. You just see your second one and instantly fall in love with them too. Like, and then seeing them together is like, oh, heart explosion. Like, they're just so perfect. My 3-year-old keeps going up to her and is like, hi, sweetheart, and like, she looks so precious, and says things like that. And like, coming out of a 3-year-old is just so stinking cute. It like kills me. Like, every time I'm like, oh my god, like, my heart. It's so crazy, so crazy. No way to describe it until it happens to you, honestly. Just one of those things. But that's pretty much it. That's the birth story, and this little love right here. But yeah, so if I don't get to post as often, this would be why, because we have a lot of things going on right now, and don't know how much we'll really be doing. I mean, she kind of sleeps a lot. It's like sleep and eat, sleep and eat, sleep and eat, so I don't really get to do much other than like sit around, clean the house a little bit, take care of my 3-year-old, feed her. Like, we're trying to get on every like 2-hour schedule at least to make sure she's putting weight back on. And I'll have to do like her little updates and let you know how she does with things, and like my postpartum updates. So speaking of, so Miss Lila Jane is 3 days old today. She was born on November 6th. And put her down. Alright. And this is the belly. So here's the side view. I mean, it's still there a little bit, but so much better than being pregnant. Here's the other side. I'm not going to show it without the shirt on right now because I have giant underwear on. But that's it. Not too bad. So much better than being pregnant, though. Well, alright, guys. Pick this baby back up because she was super content with mommy. Alright, well, thanks for watching. And like and subscribe so you can see how she grows and what life is going to be like now with 2 of them. And comment, share, whatever. I'll appreciate it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.